I call Claire Hawkey to follow by Edward Mountain. Ms Hawkey, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and I'd like to thank Liam Kerr for bringing this important motion for debate to highlight the work that veterans' organisations do. Only yesterday we celebrated 100 years since the Representation of the People Act, which gave many women the right to vote for the first time. According to a tweet by Poppy Scotland yesterday, one of the main reasons that this was made possible and supported by the public and some of the establishment was due to the contribution women made to society during the First World War. The First World War will also be commemorating a 100-year anniversary in November this year, and it changed the UK forever, and the effect it had on those who served and their families is immeasurable. Over 6 million men served in the war. 750,000 never returned home, including my great-grandmother's brother, who died at the Battle of the Somme. 1.75 million suffered some kind of disability, and millions more couldn't find work on their return from the front. To care for those who suffered, whether through their own service or through that of a family member, the British Legion, as they were then known, was formed to support them. And to this day, Scotland still has a large and vibrant armed forces community, including reservists, regular personnel and their families, with estimates showing the community encompasses over 500,000 people. In a previous members' debate, I spoke about the many veterans who have been supported and cared for at Erskine Hospital and the dedication of the staff there who have worked there for the past 101 years. The impact and effect war continues to have on our forces and their families is substantial. Therefore, the support from our veterans' charities and organisations is still as crucial today as ever. One of my Blantyre constituents, David, has had support from both the British Legion and the National Gulf Veterans and Families Association. David served in the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards and was stationed in Germany prior to the First Gulf War. In late 1990, David received multiple injections, all at the same time, in preparation for possible deployment to the Gulf. As it turned out, he wasn't deployed, but has suffered from ill health since. David left the Army in May 1992 and suffers from a combination of health issues, including impaired mobility, that he believes are directly attributable to those injections. The problem is that David and many other veterans have never found out the exact cocktail of vaccines that they were given, as the MOD says his medical records are missing and the Army initially denied that any such injections took place. However, certain declassified documents indicate that these vaccines may have contained strains of anthrax and botulism. The lack of transparency by the MOD in this issue inhibits civilian doctors from giving an accurate diagnosis and treatment for the health issues such veterans continue to experience. More than anything, David simply wants an acknowledgement that the injections took place and the information on what he was injected with, as he believes this will inform his ongoing treatment. The National Gulf Veterans and Families Association has provided David with advice and support, but is limited in what it can do in this instance. It would be helpful to them and to the good work that they continue to do for David and hundreds of other veterans in Scotland if the MOD was less retentive about medical information it holds, and that would be helpful in improving veterans' quality of life. Since the First World War through to the Gulf War and beyond, successive governments have let down too many of our veterans and their families. Being thrust into new civilian life or families left to deal with the loss of loved ones is too often too difficult for someone to deal with alone. We can dispute the merits of going to a particular war, dispute as to whether troops should be deployed or not, and dispute who our allies should be. However, what we cannot dispute is that our veterans' charities and organisations are very often left covering gaps in support which the government should be offering. Presiding Officer, we all owe a great debt to our armed forces and their families who sacrifice so much for us, and to the veterans' charities and organisations that endeavour to support them. But it's the UK government who must step up and protect our men and women who go to war and protect us.
Thank you. I call